The bluebird. I am the bird of God in his blue. Divinely high and clear, I sing the notes of the sweet and the true for the gods and the seraph's ear. I rise like a fire from the mortal's earth into a griefless sky, and drop in the suffering soil of his birth fire seeds of ecstasy. My pinions soar beyond the time and space into unfading light. I bring the bliss of the Eternal's face and the boon of the Spirit's sight. I measure the worlds with my ruby eyes. I have perched on wisdom's tree, thronged with the blossoms of paradise by the streams of eternity. Nothing is hid from my burning heart. My mind is shoreless and still. My song is rapture's mystic art. My flight, immortal will. The just man. Where is the man whom hope nor fear can move? Him the wise gods approve. The man, divine of motive, pure and steadfast will, unbent to ill, whose way is plain, nor swerves for power or gold, the high straight path to hold. Him only wise the wise gods deem, him pure of lust, him only just. Though men give rubies, though they bring a prize sweeter than Helen's eyes, yea, costlier things than these things were, they shall not win that man to sin. Though the strong lords of earth his doom desire, he shall not heed their ire, nor shall the numerous commons' stormy voice compel his heart nor quell. Though ocean all her purple pride unroll, it stirs, not shakes his soul. He sees the billows lift their cowled heads on high with undimmed eye. Pure fields he sees and groves of calm delight. He turns into the night. Hell is before, the swords await him, friends betray. He holds his way. He shall not fear, though heaven in lightnings fall, nor thunder's furious call, nor earthquake, nor the sea, though fire, though flood assail, he shall not quail. Though God tear out the heavens like a page, and break the hills for rage, blot out the sun from being, and all the great stars quench, he will not blench. The Mahatmas. Kutumi. This poem is purely a play of the imagination, a poetic reconstruction of the central idea only of Mahatmahood. The 7 mountains and the 7 seas surround me. Over me, the 8-fold sun blazing with various colors, green and blue, scarlet and rose, violet and gold and white, and the dark disk that rides in the mortal cave looks down on me in flame. Below, spread wide the worlds of the immortals, tier on tier, like a great mountain climbing to the skies, and on their summit Shiva dwells. Of old my goings were familiar with the earth. The mortals over whom I had control were then my fellows. But I followed not the usual path, the common thoughts of men. A thirst of knowledge and a sense of power, a passion of divine beneficence pursued me through 100 lives. I rose from birth to birth until I reached the peak of human knowledge. Then, in Bharat born, I, Kutumi, the Kshatriya, the adept, the mighty yogin of Dvaipayan school, to Vyasa came, the great original sage. He looked upon me with the eye that sees and smiled, august and awful. Kutumi, he cried, now gather back what thou hast learnt in many lives. Remember all thy past. Cease from thy round of human births. Resume the eightfold power that makes a man as God. Then come again and learn thy grandiose work, for thou art of the souls to death denied. I went into the mountains by the sea that thunders pitilessly from night to morn, and sunk to by that rude, relentless sound, amid the cries of beasts, the howl of winds. Surrounded by the gnashing demon hordes, I did the Hatha Yoga in 3 days, which men with anguish through 10 lives effect, not that now practiced by earth's feebler race, but that which Ravan knew in Lanka. Dhruva fulfilled, Hiranyakashipu performed the yoga of the old Lemurian kings. I felt the strength of titans in my veins, the joy of gods, the pride of siddhas. Tall and mighty like a striding god, I came to Vyasa, but he shook his dense piled locks, denying me. Thou art not pure, he cried. I went in anger to Himalayas peaks, and on the highest of the breathless snows sat dumb for many years. Then knowledge came, streaming upon me, and the hills around shook with the feet of the descending power. I did the Raja Yoga in 3 days, which men with care and accuracy minute ceaselessly follow for an age in vain. Not Kali's Raja Yoga, but the means of perfect knowledge, purity and force. Bali the Titan learnt and gave to men the yoga of the old Atlantic kings. I came to Vyasa, shining like a sun. He smiled and said, now seek the world's great Lord, Sri Krishna, where he lives on earth concealed. Give up to him all that thou knowest and art, for thou art he. Elect from mortal men to guard the knowledge, yet an easy task, while the third age preserves man's godlike force. But when thou seest the iron Kali come, and he from Dwarka leaves the earth, know then the time of trial, help endangered man, preserve the knowledge that preserves the world, until Sri Krishna utterly returns. Then art thou from thy mighty work released into the worlds of bliss for endless years, to rest until another aeon comes, when of the 7 rishis thou art one. I sent my knowledge forth across the land. It found him not in Bharat's princely halls, in quiet ashrams, nor in temples pure, nor where the wealthy traffickers resort. Brahmin nor Kshatriya body housed the Lord, Vaishya nor Shudra, nor outcast. At length, to a bare hut on a wild mountain's verge, led by the star, I came. A hermit, mad of the wild abhirs, who sat dumb, or laughed and ran and leaped and danced upon the hills, but told the reason of his joy to none. In him I saw the Lord. Behind that mask perceived the spirit that contains the worlds. I fell before him, but he leaped and ran and smote me with his foot, and out of me all knowledge, all desire, all strength was gone into its source. I sat, an infant child. He laughed aloud and said, "Take back thy gifts, O beggar," and went leaping down the slope. Then, full of light and strength and bliss, I soared beyond the spheres, above the mighty gods, and left my human body on the snows, and others gathered to me, more or less in puissance, to assist, but mine the charge by Vishnu given. I gather knowledge here, then to my human frame a while descend, and walk mid men, choosing my instruments, testing, rejecting, and confirming souls, vessels of the spirit, for the golden age of Kali comes, the iron lined with gold. The yoga shall be given back to men, the sects shall cease, the grim debates die out, and atheism perish from the earth, blasted with knowledge, love and brotherhood, and wisdom repossess Sri Krishna's world. Kama. According to one idea, desire is the creator and sustainer of things. Desire and ignorance. By losing desire, one passes beyond the ignorance, as by passing beyond ignorance, one loses desire. Then the created world is surpassed, and the soul enters into the divine reality. Kama here speaks as desire the creator, an outgoing power from the bliss of the divine reality, to which, abandoning desire, one returns, Anandam Brahman, O Vidwan, possessing the bliss of the Brahman. O desolations vast, O seas of space unpeopled, realms of an unfertile light, grow multitudinous with living forms enamored of desire. I send my breath into the heart of being, and the storm of sweet attraction shall break up its calm with quivering passionate intensity, and silence change to a melodious cry, and all the world be rose. Out of my heart suns shall flame up into the listless void, and the stars wheel in magic dances round, weaving the web of mortal life. For I am love, I am passion, I create the world, I am the only Brahma. My desire takes many forms, I change and wheel and race, and with me runs creation. I preserve, for I am love. I weary of myself, and the world circles back into the vast. Delight and laughter walking hand in hand go with me, and I play with grief and pain. I am the dance of Krishna, I the dance of Kali. Might and majesty are mine, and yet I make the heart a child at play, the soul of things a woman full of bliss. Hunger and thirst, arise and make the world. Delight, go down and give it strength to live. O ether, change. O breath of things, grow full of the perpetual world. Break out, O fire, in seas of magic color, infinite waves of rainbow light. Thou, liquid element, be sap, be taste in all created things to please the senses. Thou, O solid earth, enter into all life, support the worlds. I send forth joy to lure the hearts of men. I send forth law to harmonize and rule. And when these things are done, when men have learnt my beauty, my desirability, my bliss, I will conceal myself from their desire and make this rule of the eternal chase. They who abandon me shall to all time clasp and possess. They who pursue shall lose.